Hey, how's it going? I'm Mark. Welcome back. Hey, look, I'm growing stuff. So I pretty much had this weekend all planned out. This past weekend, anyway. I was going to haul out the post hole digger and set these posts here for the third row of my garden. Had all the goodies all ready to go. It was going to be just fantastic. Well, what I did just before the plants were ready to go to bed on Friday night, before their lights went out automatically, I stopped in and checked on them, as I do every night, as a matter of fact, as sad as that may seem. And what I saw just was distressing. It was all my plants in the big tent, all the tomato plants had fallen over. And of course, all of them that were bent at the base. And I just thought, I've got to get these things out of here because they're going to not do very well if I leave them like this. Obviously, they had really just gotten too big. And now next year, I'm going to plan on 6 weeks out to start my seedlings as opposed to 8 weeks out. And I think I'll plan on Memorial Day as the day that I'm going to plant them outside. I had figured a week earlier this year, and I've gone 8 weeks out, and they just get way too big within the 8 weeks. So I think 6 weeks they'll be plenty big to head outside and survive pretty well. Last year I put them out on May 10 and ended up with fun stuff like this. Lots of plastic to protect from the frost, and just a whole lot of work in a hurry, and sort of a bit of a panic. So Saturday morning I sat down with SketchUp, my favorite doodling program, I guess you could call it that, and drew up some plans for a structure to build on my back deck. And one of the things was it had to be able to be covered so I could put the plants under there and put a dark, or at least some sort of a protective cover over it to protect them from the sun, because they hadn't been hardened off at all. And so I came up with this. Now, luckily, things go pretty quick in SketchUp once you have the elements saved. Like, I already had the Beto buckets and the PVC pipe and some basic 2x4s all set, so I could just kind of snap all these things together and come up with this quick design. I'm hoping that this works well. Time will tell. So far, it's worked out pretty good, but SketchUp allowed me to get a little bit of read of kind of what the materials I'm going to need, and I was really hoping for just a single trip to Lowe's, which, never happens. I'd make an additional one later on, but that's all right. So I designed this. It's 4 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot high, or by 4 foot high rather, not 10 foot. That'd be a pretty massive structure. And then it goes up another foot for the little centerpiece there. So I made a quick trip to Lowe's, picked up some stuff, and by the afternoon I was starting to build. And it didn't seem like it would take that long to build based on my drawings here, but man, it sure did. But Saturday night I was done with the bulk of the stuff. It looked pretty good. I think it was going to work pretty well. On Sunday I had put a lot of the finishing touches on. I had to drill some big holes for the PVC to run through to get to the reservoir. But late Sunday afternoon, it was finally ready, and I was able to start bringing some plants out. It took a long time because I had to be careful. They were tangled up in the tent, and I didn't want to bust them more than I, absolutely had to get them out, because they had, all fallen over like that. Now, I used the canvas over the structure to protect from the sun and the rain for the night. And, canvas, I realized, is probably not the best thing to put on there, but it's what I had laying around. And I used it, and it seems to be working so far. Monday morning, it rained kind of hard, real early in the morning, but it seemed to hold up pretty well. And then at work on Monday, I got an email from a friend with this image in it, warning me that storms are coming across the lake from Wisconsin. And as the day progressed, it was fairly clear that these were going to be some pretty heavy storms with lots of wind and rain. And I had not secured the new structure to the deck. It was just kind of sitting on there, and I was afraid with that canvas on there, it would pretty much be like a sail, and I'd find it halfway across the yard with all my plants attached to it yet. Fortunately, my boss was gracious enough to let me take a couple hours off early, and I ran home, picked up some angle brackets on the way, and man, I just hopped around that structure and put each corner got an angle bracket, And just as I was getting done with that, it started to rain. I thought, oh, perfect timing, fantastic. But as it turns out, there was like 5 minutes of a little bit of rain, and that was it. No huge storm. It did clear up with enough time left in the day to get the rest of the plants out of the flood table. So that was very cool. I was able to clear out the flood table of the plants that had all fallen over. Staple the canvas to the frame, and next year probably I'm going to cover the frame with greenhouse plastic, then put them out, of course, much sooner. Maybe just bypass the flood table altogether and just go right into the the little faux greenhouse type structure here. We'll see. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out yet, but so now the flood table is filled with the runts from the previous, when I was running before, that I just sort of had laying around, hoping that they would mature enough and we can get them out in the actual garden structure with the rest of their buddies. So I think now that they've got dedicated light just for them, I think they're probably going to take off pretty well, and they're going to be a little behind the main batch, but still, that's going to be just fine. So a little bit of a panic, a little bit of a quick build out here, but I think in the long run, it's going to be worth it. I can see some changes I'm going to make to this structure for next year, but I'm kind of glad that this happened. It kind of forced me to do something like this, and I'll be ready for next year. So everybody have a great week, and talk to you soon. See you.